Are you sick and tired of losing jobs to inferior competitors undercutting you by $100 or more a square? What if I told you that homeowners would gladly pay more and you wouldn't have to resort to sleazy sales tactics? Right now, you are likely leaving money on the table with every roof you sell. This is the money that successful roofing companies use to build incredible operations, attract the best teams, and achieve financial freedom. Are you ready to stop competing on price and start winning more jobs at higher rates? Stick around. I'm about to reveal 5 essentials that will help you sell your roofing services at premium prices and do that ethically and without resorting to high-pressure sales tactics. Let's get started. Before we dive into the 5 essentials, let me share a crucial insight about your potential customers. So out of all of your opportunities, let's say that's this 100% here, okay? That's all of the opportunities you have to go out on. There's about 20% that will automatically buy. Maybe they've been exposed, they've had other purchasing experiences with roofing or other similar services, and they can recognize quality when they see it. Could be a strong referral, could be that you connected with them. Lots of different reasons, but there's about 20% that will just automatically buy. Now on the other hand here, there's about 20% that will never buy. They don't understand, they don't buy quality. Sometimes they make just poor decisions in life in general. And for those people, I like to call them ignorant. They're ignorant. And that's not in a derogatory way. They don't get it. They totally don't understand. And even if you try to explain it to them, chances are they wouldn't get it. Sometimes these people fall into the unreasonable category. And the thing that we like to say around here is that the thing about unreasonable people is you can't reason with them. And if you can't reason with them, it's hard to sell them on your value. So these folks are never going to buy. We've got other videos kind of talking about this. And what we like to do is recognize who these people are and we disregard. We don't want to waste a lot of our mental energy or figure out how to sell them, because here's the thing. Even when you do sell these people, a lot of times they're a nightmare and you don't want them. That leaves the 60% here in the middle. This group is comprised of people that kind of could be on either side. We're not sure. And what we like to call them is uninformed. They haven't bought roofing services like this before. So all they really understand is the price. And these people could go kind of either way depending on how well you communicate your value. And one of the things we like to say in our group here is that when they understand the why, then they will buy. Okay, when they understand the why, they will buy. And the way it kind of works is we don't know if the folks that are in this group, if their value system is closer to the never buys or the always buys. We don't know that. Our sales process needs to uncover that. But what I do know is that the better your sales process is, the more you can chew in to this 60% and increase your close ratio. And you can do that without relying on being the least expensive. We buy stuff every day for more than we could pay. Why do we do that? Because we understand the benefit. These people in the 60%, they just need to understand, and you will sell more of them and you won't have to rely on price. This 60% we're talking about here is your golden opportunity, and this is where successful salespeople increase their close ratios by effectively communicating the value that their company brings. But there are rules to this. And that's exactly what our 5 essentials will help you do. Essential number 1 is moving the homeowner from unconscious to conscious. So we know that we need to communicate our value, but we can't just say, hey, we're better, buy from us. But that is basically what most roofing company salespeople do, and it turns homeowners off. These homeowners, they don't think that they need to be educated about the difference in roofing companies. They just think that they need to know a little bit about the shingles and a price. So to better understand, think about this. Can you think about a time when someone was trying to impose their thoughts, beliefs, or wisdom on you and you weren't looking for it? Were you compelled to blindly accept what they were saying? Probably not. There's a saying that you cannot educate a closed mind, and we need to educate them. So how do we open their mind? Well, They have to see a need. You see, the homeowner is unconsciously incompetent. What it means is that they don't know that they don't know, but they think they know. And I like to call this the teenager stage. And for any of you out there who have teenagers, this is when you tell the teenager what to do, and you're doing so in an effort to keep them safe, and they look at you like you're the incompetent fool. So instead of trying to roof-splain and irritate the homeowner, what we need to do is we need to move them to the next stage. This next stage is when they become consciously incompetent. And what consciously incompetent means is that they come to the realization that, there's some stuff here that maybe I don't know or wasn't aware of, and we could be at risk if we make a bad choice. At RoofCoach, what we teach is that once they become aware, then they start to care. The way to do this has many factors that you can use. But one hack that we found is to explain what can and does happen as a result of the decisions that they make. And we're going to touch on a couple of these in the following steps. Essential number 2 is to be the dealership model. Before we talk about techniques, there's something that we need to cover. If you aren't actually different and better than the competition, the only way to sell for higher prices is typically with gimmicks and sleazy sales tactics. In most markets, the higher price contractors typically fall into one of two camps. They're either high pressure, I like to call them sales factories, and a lot of times they've got a revolving door of sales reps. They spend a ton of money on marketing, and they have to do that because typically they underperform in the quality and customer satisfaction departments. The other side are what we call the elite. The elite contractors, they provide incredible quality and customer experiences. And these are the people who we typically deal with. And what we like to call the folks that we work with is to pursue and or become the dealership model. To illustrate the dealership model, let's think about an auto dealership. When most people who want to get their car serviced properly and for sure make sure it's going to be right, they take it to the dealership. And that's because the dealership, they have the most current training, the most current tools, and the best tools. They have the best techniques for that specific car, and they also are most likely to be able to make it right if something goes wrong or if they screw up. Because of this, they charge a premium, and you can too. What this means for you is that you need your company to be current on manufacturer specs, also to be up to speed on local building code, and also, the best practices in your market. Okay. And we're not just talking about, I kind of know what those things are, or this is how we do it. No, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about actually knowing to the letter exactly what the manufacturer's requirements are, exactly what local building code is, and exactly what the best practices are, because local building code, that's just the minimum, right? That's just the entry point. There are best practices for your market and your weather conditions that are better than that. You need to be an expert at all those. That's what the homeowner is expecting. Not the way we've done it, not the way we like to do it, the exact way it is supposed to be done by the authorities in our industry. If you want to command a premium price, you have to be the authority for the products that you install. From your sales teams to the crews doing the work, they need to be the most competent in your market. And on top of that, there's more to it than just installing the roof properly. The people need to have and want to have a dealership experience, and a dealership experience that commands a premium. You need to be constantly working to provide a phenomenal experience from the time the homeowner calls your office until you finish cleaning up the job site. Essential 3 is what we like to call get them focused on the future. We're going to assume that you have an awesome company that shouldn't be losing jobs to inferior competitors. Now, let's go over an effective way to move the homeowner from ignorant to aware. No one wants to buy a roof. And I mean, no one wants to buy a roof. Think about yourself. If you had to buy a roof, you had to shell out the money to buy a roof, probably not something you'd want to do. Now, I know there's a little bit of disbelief there because I go take care of it myself. But think about it. If you had to spend 15, 20 grand on a roof, other things you probably like to spend your money on. And there's actually a name for the type of purchase that roofing is. It's called a grudge purchase. That means it's something that they have to do, not something that they want to do. And this is why most homeowners are not initially interested in looking at premium roofing options. If you ask a homeowner if they want a Mercedes roof system, most will say, no, I'll take the Volkswagen. But actually, this is the wrong comparison. Both of those cars are made in a factory with quality controls, and the consumer can test drive them before buying them. With a roof, it doesn't work like that. They make a decision before the job happens, And then when the job starts, they're stuck. And this is what they're ignorant about. They're making that decision with the assumption that all roofers are the same and that all roofing is the same. I like to think that buying a roof is like buying a tattoo. If it goes wrong, you may be really unhappy for a long time, or you might end up starting over. And this is what we need to get the homeowner to be aware of. See, most roofers quote basic systems because they're trying to be as cheap as possible so they can win the job. Then when the higher quality contractor comes in, even when you match the materials, you're typically still going to be higher priced. But because that makes you look like the other contractor to the homeowner, they can only see the price difference. And this is when you hear them say things like, I can get the same job for less. Before you show them any options for materials or the products, ask them this. When you think about the weather around here, how many extreme weather days do we have a year when we get strong winds and it rains really hard? And depending on where you live, they might say, I don't know, 2 or 3. Next, ask them this. Well, how long do you plan to own the home? And they might reply, I don't know, maybe 10 years. Let's say in the time that you'll be here, that's, 20 to 30 extreme weather events that your roof's going to endure. What will your tolerance be for your roof leaking during any of those? Now, if they're part of the 60% that appreciates value and would buy from you, they're going to say, well, none. And that's when you can ask, all right, I bring this up because buying a roof is like buying a tattoo. Once it's done, you can't change it. You have the choice to build your roof for either normal weather or for those extreme days. Which do you prefer? When you introduce this in this way, they can become aware on their own terms without you roof-splaining and irritating them. And remember earlier we talked about once they become aware, then they start to care. See, we don't want to be educated until we care, right? Put yourself in their shoes. If you didn't care about something and think you needed to know it, and somebody starts blabbing at you, you're going to be like, get away. But once you go, oh no, there's something here that I'm concerned about, that's when it's like, give me the info, right? So I'm going to say something here at the risk of sounding corny, but I hope it helps you remember it, okay? When they become aware, then they start to care. And when they start to care, then you can share. And that's when you can educate them on the value of your company. And that's what we're going to talk about next. Essential number 4 is to be the most certain option. I want you to imagine this. Let's say you're shopping for plane tickets. You've got one airline that has tickets listed for $1,000. And while you're shopping, you see a competitive airline and they're running a promotion for a flight to the same city for $199. But there's a catch. Right underneath the promotion, kind of in the fine print, you notice what says 99% chance of arrival. Most consumers that would see that would immediately say, not going with these guys. We are going to go with the 100% chance of arrival people. And in this case, that option is literally 5 times more. They do it because most consumers, the 60% folks that we think we can win because of value and comprehension, they will pay more for certainty. This is why people pay more to get their car serviced by the dealership. The dealership is the most certain option. This is also why the elite roofing companies are able to charge more and still have great reputations. Your job is to be the most certain option. From the way you look, to your level of organization, to how competent you and your team are, you need to be the most certain option. And how you can do that is you want to compare yourself not to the other roofing companies in your marketplace. You want to compare yourself to the best service organizations and try to provide a similar level of quality and service. And when you do that, you will be rewarded with better customers, higher close ratios, and higher margins. But it doesn't happen by just looking good. You have to educate the homeowner so they understand the differences in value. Essential 5 is communicating your value. If you look more professional and are more competent than the competition, you're going to win more of those 60%ers. If you make them aware so they care, you're also going to separate yourself from inferior competitors and sell more. But if you really want to dig deep into that 60% pool and sell the most amount that you can sell them, they have to understand why, and then they will buy. And how you do that is you educate them on why you and your company are the most certain option. How you do that is by, number 1, identifying what makes you your company and your service the more certain option. And that's something you have to kind of do. A lot of times we're blind to those things. You need to identify what does make us different and better. How do we compare, or how are we superior to our competition, and how does that benefit the homeowner? Number two is effectively communicating those things in a way that they can understand. And that's the most important thing to take away here, in a way that they can understand. We teach roofers how to do this over multiple days with our W4 retail selling system. The reality is we couldn't teach you all that here in the time that we have. It's just, there's no way to do it. But you can start by listing out all the things that make you superior. Think about how those things benefit the client and then provide them more certainty. The better your sales process is at educating the homeowner and conveying that you are the more certain option, the more sales you're going to win. And when you do this at a high level, the homeowner instinctively sees your competition like that risky airline, the one that people would gladly pay 5 times more to avoid flying on. When you implement these 5 essentials, you'll be able to effectively communicate your value to that crucial 60% of potential customers and sell more jobs without relying on price. When you become the obvious and safest choice, you don't need to rely on high pressure tactics or any unethical practices. It's about clearly demonstrating why your premium service is worth every penny. If you got value out of this video, please hit the like and subscribe button and let us know so we can make more like it. And if you'd like to learn how we help roofers build awesome roofing businesses, request a game plan session by clicking the link in the description.